He is the pillar of his community. He is the friend everyone calls to help with a move at 6 in the morning on a Sunday. He is the husband who never starts a fight, and the employee who accepts double the workload without so much as a flinch. At a loved one's funeral, he is the one organizing everything, serving the coffee and offering his shoulder. Everyone says the same thing about him. He is a rock. He never complains about anything. But if it were possible to look inside this man's mind or observe the level of cortisol bathing his brain every single night, the reality would be quite different. The man who never complains is not a superhuman. He is a biological time bomb. He is suffering from a silent illness that society often mistakes for virtue, but medicine and psychology recognize as a direct path to collapse. Stay with me, because today we are going to unmask the dangerous psychology of male silence. We will understand why this man's inability to express discomfort is killing his body, and more importantly, we will analyze how he can reclaim his voice through 4 fundamental steps. To understand this phenomenon, we must turn to the physician and researcher Gabor Maté. In his seminal work, When the Body Says No, Maté presents a disturbing thesis based on decades of clinical observation. Individuals who possess a chronic inability to say no or to express their anger and discontent have a drastically higher propensity to develop serious illnesses such as cancer, multiple sclerosis, and rheumatoid arthritis. Maté explains that the immune system and the emotional system are, in fact, a single, interconnected system. When this man swallows a legitimate complaint just to maintain external peace, he triggers an internal alarm. His body understands it is under attack, but because he does not allow the energy of that discontent to be released, the immune system becomes confused and begins to attack the organism itself. The man who never complains is, quite literally, killing himself slowly in silence. But why does he do it? Why does silence seem so much safer to him than speaking up? This is where the vision of Carl Jung comes in. This man is trapped in his persona, the social mask he wears to be accepted and admired. He identifies so deeply with the image of the strong, resilient man that he feels a paralyzing dread that by complaining, he will be seen as weak or childish. Jung warned that everything an individual denies in themselves ends up being cast into the shadow. When this man buries his discontent, the feeling does not vanish. It rots in the basement of his psyche. This profile of a man who never complains in front of his wife or his boss ends up exploding over insignificant things in the future, or develops silent addictions, or withdraws into an emotional isolation that destroys his intimacy. As Jung would say, what you deny subdues you, what you accept transforms you. Researcher Brené Brown adds another layer to this armor. She argues that this man's silence is not a sign of strength but of fear. He fears that if he says, "I don't like this or that," he might be rejected. The man who never complains is actually trying to buy love and acceptance through submission. The problem is that no one can truly love him if he never shows where the wound hurts. And here is an interesting point, frequently discussed by thinkers like Jordan Peterson. There is a crucial difference between being a good person and being a harmless person. A man who cannot complain, who cannot establish a boundary and say, "This is wrong," is not necessarily virtuous. He is often simply incapable of fighting for himself. True virtue does not reside in the absence of complaint, but in the capacity to express discontent in a surgical and firm manner to protect one's own integrity. A legitimate complaint is, for this man, a survival tool. It is the biological signal that a boundary has been crossed. If he deactivates this alarm, he allows the world to run him over. How, then, can this man break this cycle of self-destructive silence? How can he stop being the Iceman who melts from the inside and become a man of integrity who knows when and how to complain? Let's understand how. Step 1. The recognition of the biological signal. Before a complaint ever reaches this man's mouth, it passes through his body. He needs to learn to notice the tightness in his chest, the knot in his throat, or the tension in his jaw when something bothers him. The first step for him is to stop ignoring these signals as if they were nonsense. When he feels that discomfort, he must admit to himself, something here isn't right. Step 2. The distinction between complaining and victimhood. Often, this man does not complain because he loathes the stereotype of the grumbler, the guy who passively complains about the weather or the traffic. He needs to understand the technical distinction. Victimhood is passive and seeks pity. Functional complaining is active and seeks a solution. Complaining in a healthy way is the beginning of solving a problem. Step 3. The practice of the surgical complaint. The mistake of this specific man when he finally decides to speak after accumulating silence for years is that he explodes and attacks the other person. To avoid this, he must disagree individually. He should pull the person he disagrees with aside so as not to embarrass them and explain exactly how the situation generated discomfort. Step 4. The choice of integrity over harmony. This is the hardest step for him. This man must accept that by complaining about something just, he might break the momentary peace of the environment. But he must understand that a peace that depends on his silence and his illness is not peace, it is submission. He needs to choose to be truthful instead of just being nice. A man who complains when necessary earns respect. Imagine now that same man from the beginning of our conversation, but now equipped with these psychological tools. He is still helpful and strong. But when the weight becomes excessive or when disrespect arises, he has the courage to say, "No, that doesn't work for me." Notice how his shoulders relax as he utters those words. Notice how his blood pressure drops. By giving voice to his discontent, he has stopped fighting his own immune system. A man's health does not depend solely on diet and exercise. It depends on the courage to inhabit his own truth. Silence may seem like a shield, but for him, it ends up being a deadly isolation chamber. If the description of this man felt familiar, perhaps it is time to analyze how other patterns of the mind are dictating the health and happiness of those around you, or even your own. Click on the video appearing on your screen right now to continue discovering the mysteries of the human psyche. Subscribe, like the video, and remember, a man's voice is the guardian of his own life. I will see you in the next video.